It's looking at some good stuff from Vervoe today, people. We've got a demo,
What you
product,
got?
firing squad alumni, Omer, Damon. Show us what you got there, guys.
Good, gentlemen. Thank you. We talked a little bit earlier about some of the flow and some of the pieces that are taking place in the platform today. But what I think we'll start with here is normally I would start with the candidate platform to show you how we'll get people in. I think we'll kind of hop past that today and really show you just the platform itself. And we can certainly talk about some of the flow as we do on the platform. Typically, how we get candidates into the platform. Can certainly dive into this a little bit more if we want, but typically there's a variety of ways we'll get them in. One, we can choose to invite them via a shareable link. So whether you're posting that in a job posting, whether you want to put it out on social media, on social networks, and really what we've seen be our most popular way of getting candidates invited is via email. So obviously they've applied
Do you
to a
guys help
job.
them track where traffic's coming from for these tests? Like, do you say, hey, here's Facebook, here's, yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. Trackable links. Exactly right. That you can actually see where the folks are coming from.
Bueno.
Yep. So all of the communications with our candidates is all branded. So employer branding obviously being an important part of what people are looking to do. So you can have your logo, you'll have your colors that are automatically translated. All of the lingo, we certainly provide upfront language that you can use our language, but you can also customize all of that. And what the candidate gets is literally a magic link. The link that sits their email, they literally click on the link and it'll bring them directly into the platform to be able to start with.
Are you guys still doing the job post marketplace? That was you guys, right?
It was the
Where you like
assessment
submit job postings and then that wasn't Vervoe?
No, it was assessment. They had like an assessment marketplace where you could pick other people's assessments, right? Questions.
Talent.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. We have a library of like it's a library of tests that are written by experts. That's right.
Why Chad makes the big money. That's why he drinks the nano beers.
My back, gentlemen.
Oh, look at that Wonderlick. That's a Wonderlick. Huh?
Yeah.
Partnered
Yeah.
with.
So we partner with a number of what we call sort of validated psychometric assessment content creators. So folks who are sort of in the business of creating personality tests or cognitive ability testing, and that's really their forte. And whereas we're focused on the delivery of that content and the experience and the grading and putting it all together, so then it works out to be a really good partnership. And what it allows us to do is to deliver to our customers a combination of bespoke skills testing, so job specific. So can you do the job? Can you hit a tennis ball? Can you design? Can you sell? Whatever, combined with an off-the-shelf standardized personality test that that could be one score, it could be a Big Five or a Hogan or a whatever.
So here's the thing, Omer and Damon. From what I've been able to gather from what Vervoe's doing is that we all know that job descriptions suck. They've sucked forever, and they've stayed pretty standard with the actual requirements. But those requirements really don't stay with what it takes to do the job. What you guys do is you can actually help the employer and the candidates find the right types of people who can code, who can Excel, who can do this and who can do that, to really understand how they or if they can do the job. That's the big key, right? So instead of saying, can you do X, Y, or Z, you go through the process of actually testing for that.
That's exactly right. We show you who can do the job and how they approach it. And if to use an offline example, we were talking about this with a customer just before. If you meet Roger Federer, you're not going to know if Roger Federer is good at tennis. You'll know that he's charismatic, but you've got to see him hit a tennis ball. So, why is it different for anything else? If you want to know if someone is good at hitting a tennis ball, watch them hit a tennis ball. And everything else is just degrees of sophistication and insight and analytics, but the fundamentals are the same.
Right. Somebody's good at naps. then you'll know.
You'll watch them. You'll hear crickets.
Still haven't found a way to get paid for that. But.
Sleep studies. I keep telling you.
Damon, should we move ahead to kind of showing the employer dashboard and the output?
Keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So looking up top left here, we were just in the talent trial bucket. A couple of different, and I'll just real quickly touch on the talent trial bucket. You can come into the talent trial library. You can go ahead and pull something directly off the shelf that you've identified that will fit for the job role that you're looking to fill. You can certainly take those talent trials out of the library and customize them to your specific use case. You can also engage with our internal IO team. We have an organizational psychologist, a team of them on staff that can help you build a bespoke talent trial specific for your requirements. And then you can certainly bring in your own material as well. So very flexible in how we approach that, making sure that you get something that's bespoke and customized for what you're looking to do in the role you're looking to fill for. Now we've clicked over to what's called My Jobs, and these are the different jobs that I'm currently hiring for. Creating a job is very easy to do. What I'll do is go ahead and take a look at what we'll call a Transform Change Senior Manager. And I've got a number of different stages within this specific role that we're looking to hire for. So I'm testing for a couple of different things. I've got some specific questions regarding the senior manager role. I'm also taking a look at their logic reasoning. Then I have something called final online stage, which is some generic questions that we're looking to understand as they move through the process. We have the ability to do what we call online stages or talent trial stages, and then also these offline stages as well. So if you want to manage your candidates through the process, you might have them take one talent trial initially, then go through a background check, and then move them to the next level, depending on how they're performing in these different stages. Now, one of the things that we talked about earlier is as people go through, they're invited to the platform, they get this magic link, they take the talent trial online, they can do it either on a mobile device or on a desktop, they get scored automatically via our AI when they come directly into the platform.
Babe, can you shut Ruby up?
There's a couple of different things here. You see some that say my score, and you see some that say predicted score. The predicted score is the AI component that you're seeing here, and my score means that I've clicked in and I've actually graded them myself. So what you see is that often people get the platform, and we talked about the accuracy of the AI initially. What we see is that people come in and they want to say, okay, AI graded them at 95%. I want to go in and see how I would have graded them. And what we get is, to Omer's point earlier, is usually less than a 5% variance that we tend to see. It's highly accurate based on how people would likely be scoring these candidates. But they go in and they will score it themselves, and they say, wow, magic, really close to what we're seeing. As a matter of fact, one of the candidates or one of the employers specifically said, and I hate to use this word because it's not marketing speak, but it was creepy how accurate the AI was. I love the statement, but we'll have to come up with something better.
Usually a word we try to avoid associated with. But
I figured for Chad and Cheese, I figured that this was
perfect. Could say it's very Joel-like, and then everybody would go.
I only share that with you guys. I figured you guys would appreciate that.
Question, Damon.
Yes, sir.
This is a nice little package, right? You have 3 candidates, 4 candidates. But if I'm doing the thousands like the Postal Service, does this screen look like a nightmare for me, or do you have ways to manage it better?
Yeah, great question. So these stack rank orders, it will actually stack rank order it for you based on how they've scored on the AI, and you can simply scroll through them. Now, what it's doing essentially is giving you a place to start, right? It's saying, hey, Joel, you should be starting here to look at folks based off of how they performed on the platform.
So here's a question. Do you automatically progress from left to right as you finish things, or do I personally have to drag you?
So if it's an auto-graded score,
yeah.
If you set it with all auto-grading, you can absolutely have it auto-progress. Cool. Most of our folks have a combination of written and video and code editing and all the variety of different components of our questions. Okay. They might not just have. So certainly up to the individual, but the beauty of the platform, Chad, is the flexibility, right? I can have all these combination of different components to give people real world tasks that they might encounter on the job. And I use all these combination of different questions and answer capabilities to give them something that really is a true experience. So
And
certainly can do that, but you can certainly also go in and do it individually, totally up to you and how you approach the role.
And we just added some batch action features.
That's right.
Like mass rejection, so you can just tick everybody, and also extension of deadlines at scale. So, for example, candidates typically have 4 days, but you can extend everyone at the same time instead of one by one. So things like that. So just to make it easier, but you know, at the end of the day, a lot of our customers want to do this in a more handcrafted way and treat the candidates with care. There are some that use us sort of mass automation, but I'd say it's the minority. Typically, they're quite engaged and looking at candidate responses.
So, quick question with regard to integration. Can I do this pretty much from an automated standpoint, push them through all of these tests? If they score to whatever level I want them to be scored, move them to the next stage. Once they get to that final stage, can I go ahead and then get them pushed into my applicant tracking system?
Yeah, that's exactly how it's. In fact,
absolutely.
The common use case is you'll start with your, Taleo or whatever, your ATS, and set up the rec and do all the job distribution from there and get the candidates. You might do some minimal screening like job requirements, right to work, those kind of things, driver's license, whatever. Then you'll export them into a CSV and bring them onto our platform, and they get invited via email. They'll go through 1 or 2 stages of testing, and then you'll export them back to the ATS. Gotcha. And then if we want to do it, and then if we sort of do an integration, then they'll get exported with the scores. And so you can kind of make it even more frictionless. Right. But even without any integration, the CSV import export is just a very easy way to do things, and they all go back to the ATS.
Yeah.
My memory on background check. Like, are those legitimate? You're back checking people. You're going to
no. That's just this is a dummy account. This is just an example. We don't really do background checks. Yeah. And this would be an example of like they just want to. They'll be doing the background checks either offline or with another tool, but they just want to know on our platform that that's where the candidates are up to if they're using us in that kind of format.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
And then
can we see the analytics piece?
Absolutely.
Like where traffic's coming from, and
and I have one source. What did I do? I did a Facebook and an email invitation. Yeah. And you can do a variety of those guys. So you can manage your job links. Very easy to do, all the different platforms. And you can do that simply through inviting candidates. You can do the social networks here, no problem. You can create a one to post on your job links specifically for yourself as well. So very, very easy to do.
And actually,
SMS
Joel,
or messaging coming?
I'm sorry.
Is SMS or some sort of messaging coming?
There is messaging already, not SMS, but direct candidate messaging between the employer and the candidate. And there's also
email.
It's email.
Okay.
And it's not revolutionary, but we didn't have before, until we launched that, there was no way for companies to communicate directly with candidates on the platform in a way that was kind of trackable. Mm-hmm. But the other thing, I've just been invaded.
We got dingoes, we got babies. It's all
We're
good,
a family business.
Kangaroos with advertisements.
We got beer. Yeah,
and the candidate messaging is in-app, right? So that's important. But what I wanted to mention about the reporting, Joel, is that in addition to understanding where candidates have applied from or been invited from, we can connect the scores that they received with the sources. So we can say to you, for example, that the candidates that came through LinkedIn performed better than the candidates that came through Indeed. Okay. So it's taking it to a whole new level. So it's not just to say, I got more applicants and my ROI is higher, or I hired someone who applied from this. We can actually say candidates from this source are performing better because we can correlate the scores with the source of application. And that's, I mean, I don't want to be one of those guys who says we're the only ones doing this, but I can't imagine there are a lot of folks doing this kind of thing.
That's very cool. And my next question is, in aggregate, what are the top 3 or so?
We don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
We don't know yet. We haven't actually run macro analytics, like platform-wide analytics on that. The reporting feature's probably 8 weeks old. But we absolutely.
Yeah.
We absolutely.
When you find out like where the smartest people are coming from, you let us know.
Yeah. So
yeah, sure.
I mean, from your like massive like dashboard of all aggregate data, that would be awesome to be able to just like put that out. I mean, once a quarter or something like that. Just
general terms.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's great data.
Yeah.
And we were discussing this with Allegis. We work with them on a bunch of things, and they, like, for them, this was like, they thought this was amazing because, at scale, if you're doing this at scale for your customers, if you're in this sort of RPO or agency business, essentially for them and for other companies like them, they can advise companies on where to spend their money, and it's big money. For smaller companies, it might not be as important. It's like $200-300 here or there. But when you're spending hundreds of thousands on job distribution, it makes a big difference.
Right.
I'm anxious to see how VR headsets perform.
Not that far off.
Joel, do you think, I know you guys love text. Do you think text is something we should think about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's no question. And whether you partner with somebody or actually build it yourself, it's something that I would definitely do.
Okay.
Above and beyond email.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're looking at a landscape now that's about messaging overall. So when we talk about messaging, email, Facebook, WhatsApp, SMS, all the way through, right? So, that's the most important thing, is to be able to meet the candidate where they do business. And if they do business on Facebook Messenger, then why the hell not meet them there?
Makes sense. No, good point. Good. Good. What haven't I covered yet, Omer?
No, I think they're the main things. Analytics.
Yeah.
Can you show us some of the actual, like, maybe set up for like or maybe from the candidate side, if I'm coming through a video interview, or if I'm coming through an actual test, what does that actually look like? Because you're talking about experience, right? And a lot of it has to do with that high completion rate that you showed us. How are you getting such a great completion rate? It's got to be the experience. So show us a little bit about that if you can.
Absolutely.
And while Damon's getting that ready,
yeah,
I just want to comment on that. It's what we learned is that it's partly the experience, but it's also partly the mindset and the communication and setting things up, setting up expectations. And maybe that's part of the experience, right? Experience is more than just the product, but it's getting candidates into the right mindset that this is an opportunity, not a hurdle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's also things like, the employer branding and how they're sort of advertising the role and attracting the right candidates. If you bring a lot of the wrong people in, they're not going to be motivated to spend time, invest in the role. So it's part of that. And so what we try and do there is we can't be overly prescriptive, but we can try and guide towards, we can say, look, you'll get better adoption if you do these kind of things. And there are also things like really simple things we've learned, like don't have a video as the first question because it freaks people out. Don't have 50 questions because no one wants to answer 50 questions. Those kind of, they might sound basic like to us on this call, but I promise you, like, we've seen it all before. We've seen it all.
Oh yeah. I mean, just going through a handful of major Fortune 500 company application processes, it's ridiculous. It's like a train wreck.
One customer got angry at us that candidates aren't completing, and we looked at what they set up, and they had a questionnaire with 140 questions, and we were like, well, maybe
For
that's got
one
something to do
job?
with the fact that no one wants to do it for one stage in one job,
or 15 video questions in a row.
One
Right.
stage in one job. What was this job?
Yeah.
What kind?
I can't remember, but
was
it
the
wasn't like
cashier,
working at it wasn't
good
for a
with
brand
people?
name.
What's your favorite color? If you were an animal, which one would it be?
Red, no blue. Yeah.
All right, so this is the email. You saw me drag and drop June into the next stage. This is what we're calling the final online stage. And just so you guys know, this is just a conglomeration. Oh, I've got to log out and log back in. Give me 2 seconds here.
Copy paste
I
in
know.
the incognito window. That's what it's all about.
That's the problem, incognito, because I'm logged in on 2 windows here. So I apologize, gentlemen. Let's do this. Control C, file, new incognito. Thank you. I should know better than that. Damon.
What are you drinking over there? I don't see.
I haven't even started yet. Jeez.
I'm having.
Oh, you're in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you've got the
40
icing
proof.
swag.
Yes. It's legit. It's a
Awesome
Yeti.
Swag.
Yeah, it's a Yeti.
You guys have Yeti in Australia? You
No,
probably have Yetis in Australia, but do you have the product?
we don't have those either.
Try this
Yeah.
again.
Got my Voodoo Ranger.
There she goes.
That's good.
There
All right,
Stuff.
Damon, we're up and running.
All right, we're up
You
and
must be at the
running.
bottom of the barrel, so wash if you're drinking
Yeah.
that.
You running
It
out.
was at the front of the fridge. It's been in there for a while.
So branding throughout the employee portal. If they've got multiple steps that they're going through, they can actually create a profile for themselves. But diving into the interview, and they can see how they're going through the process as well. So again, this is a kind of a conglomeration of different questions and answers that we've put together here. Again, creating skills via immersive assessments. So whether it's spreadsheets, document creations, designing something, sharing real world work examples, conducting coding challenges, even some of the personality quizzes we talked about earlier, video for personal interaction. It's all about creating the real world job simulation. So in this case, we've got somebody who has gone.
This is a customer service.
Exactly
That's
right.
This is good.
Combination. So watch a video. Tell me what you think. Right. Put the video directly within it. Lots of times people will, from an employer branding standpoint, the first question will be about the company. This is about us. This is what you want. We want you to know about us. Tell us about yourself. Something like this where you've got a timed question. Everything's obfuscated from the candidate view until you actually click on the question, right? What you do, you can see that you've got what we call one of our immersive assessments. So I want you to go in. We do have a direct integration with Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google presentations. So you
Google
can actually
Slides.
Google Slides.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And the reason there are 2 reasons we did that. Number one, it reduces a lot of friction, so you don't have to upload and download files. It's just all in app. And number 2, it increases integrity, so we can capture the data. We can actually do things like session recording. We can see people doing work. And if you think of the analytics and opportunity there's just a lot of stuff that we can really cool stuff we can do.
These are sort of plug and play, right? The clients don't have to come up with these tests. They don't have to go find a video of 2 customers fighting each other or the spreadsheet. You guys kind of template all that, right?
Combination of all the above. So they can bring in their own content. They can use our content, or we'll have the org psych team work with them to create content.
They've got Wonderlic already embedded in the system,
Right.
Joel.
Fans of the show, dude.
And what we talked about before, sort of the world that we're moving towards is full content automation, where they'll just describe their perfect hire and the content will be generated for them automatically.
Oh, could we do that via like Google Home?
Google
Yeah.
from home.
Through tell
It's like,
Siri,
hey,
tell
Google,
Siri who you want to hire.
find me a customer service rep that'll do this, that, yeah.
You guys recognize this one? Good old fashioned code editor. Show me a JavaScript program to draw 2 intersecting rectangles. Again, combination. And again, remember, whether it's video starting in the question and then answering with a text, or it's a text question with a video response. It's an audio response or an audio question with an Excel response. Whatever the combination that you want to do with the platform, that's the beauty. It's the flexibility that allows you to create. Again, it's all about mimicking that real world life example.
Well, I love the down at the bottom. You can see what's timed, what's not timed. You can see how many steps you have to go through. It meets the expectation right out of the gate. I don't know how in the hell somebody actually had 140 freaking questions. That's a lot of work.
Right.
That is a lot of work to put together, let alone try to get.
How many tests are completed on mobile?
Yeah, it's all mobile responsive. But
what percent do it on mobile versus desktop?
I don't know the percent off the top of my head.
It's over half. Half on mobile. At one point, it was really high. It was like 60 or 70%. And it went down a bit because, I think as the level of sophistication went up with our customers, the tests became sort of slightly more sophisticated. We started, so there are things that are easier on desktop. And then on the employer side, it's all desktop.
Gotcha.
And I just want to mention on the, what were we talking about just on the question before you asked the question about mobile? I can't remember now. It doesn't matter. It'll come back.
We're talking about the immense amount of questions that somebody had actually pushed into the system at one time.
Oh, no, Chad, you were asking about, you were saying like at the bottom, like,
all the details.
The expectations.
Right. Yeah. So one of the pet hates of candidates is to not know where they are in the process or how long it's going to take them and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we guide, and to your point, Joel, as well. So what we do is we guide to like, for a test at the top of the funnel, 8 to 10 questions, no more than 30 minutes. Obviously at the bottom of the hiring funnel, if you've already met with someone and they're kind of on a small short list and you want them to do a very detailed design challenge or Excel test, that might be longer. But that's for the top of the funnel. And we try and set expectations for candidates that this is going to take you, this amount of time and this is where you are. And this employer wants you to do 2 tests so that they kind of know how much time they need to invest, because otherwise it's pretty frustrating for them. And then they want human contact So
I definitely love what I see. I love obviously how everything's pushing forward and evolving. The big question that I want to ask, Omer, is have you started white labeling with Seek yet?
Not white labeling, but we are in so we're doing a pretty big exercise now with them. That's a zero dev. So without engineering. So it's a partnership with their customers to get them to use our platform for skill testing, but without any technical integration as a first step. And we've set some really clear goals for kind of what success looks like. Seek's a $7 billion company. So for them, they're kind of stages that they're going to do things in a certain way. So we're towards the end of that. And that's been really good. And then that's how we sort of progress to the next stage of moving into a deeper integration. And we're also talking to a handful of Seek peers or competitors, or however you want to think about them, other sort of major players either in the job board market or talent pool market. Not necessarily really directly competing with Seek, but in other parts of the world, or they're stronger in other areas.
Right.
About similar partnerships. They take a lot of these things tend to take a lot of time to execute on.
Right. So in the final minutes / seconds, what would you like to impart to the people who are actually watching this?
Damon, you want to go? You go first.
Yeah. What do we want to impart? I think we go back to our mission, Chad. It's really about our mission is really about giving everyone an equal opportunity to be able to showcase their skills. The idea of hiring on merit and not on background. That's something that I think we hear more and more in the marketplace. It tends to resonate very well with companies that are what I'll call market leaders. They're embracing HR tech. They understand that there's new things out there that allow them to get away from the resume, not have the resume be the focus of a process, and actually have truly an applicant showcase their skills. That's really, I mean, and Omer will tell you, and you guys have heard the story, that's what it all comes from. That's where everything stems from. And that as a mission has been something that tends to really resonate with people and something we're pretty proud of. So if they take away anything, giving everyone the chance to showcase their skills and really do it in a way that is fun for the candidate, it's good for the employer and good for the market, is something that I would really love them to hear.
Excellent.
Nailed
Where
it.
can our fans learn more about you guys, and what kind of special deal can you give them?
Oh, special deal.
That's
The kangaroo deal.
I love it. The shrimp on the Barbie deal. That's what you should have said over
The Foster's deal.
a can of Foster's. Everyone gets a can of Foster's.
Oil can of Foster's.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to throw this out. I may get kicked under the table for this by the finance team and Omer later on in the board, but if they come to us through you, we'll look at giving them a month of additional time with us on a year agreement. We would add a month on for them at no additional cost.
Nice.
So I'll throw
And
that.
they can find us at vervoe.com, and everyone should watch our cool video, which I know you guys like.
Yes.
And also listen to the Firing Squad episode.
Listen to the Firing Squad episode, but I've got to say this before we leave. If you have not gone to YouTube and seen the Vervoe video, it is very Office-like. It's like The Office. It's so funny. It is hilarious. And
very Australian.
I love it, dude. I love it. I don't know who did it, but you need to continue to do that. Big ups. Big ups.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Thanks, gentlemen.
We appreciate
Thanks,
you taking
guys.
the time.
Good day, mate.
Omer,
day.
go back to bed.
I'm just getting started.
See you guys.
Thanks, gentlemen. Cheers.
Thanks a lot.